Hey everybody, this is Discord user Slappy White with Radish Digital, that is digital with a J, and we're here to talk about the BPX token, Sparks, Miles, whatever you call it, whether you're from Wonders of the First, Bow Battle Arena, Block Packs, or Mars. It's all the same thing. We're here just to talk about the BPX, Sparks, Miles, and the liquidity pools and some basics. So we're looking forward to your questions out there. And we have the resident expert, according to Hen, here tonight. And then also, we have, hopefully, we've got one guest up on stage. We've got Moop Dad. Hopefully, he's going to have some questions or comments. And my apologies to B-Jams, which is B-Jams agreed to come back and co-host, but it was my scheduling error. So, unfortunately, unfortunately, it's probably going to be just us tonight. And no B-Jam, so apologies for that. All right, so let's get started. According to Hen, welcome to the stage.
How's it going?
Good. All right, so according to Hen, is that tell folks a little bit about yourself. I see we've got, hey Ben, welcome to the stage.
Hey, thanks.
All right, so we've got Ben and Moop Dad. Is that how you pronounce it? Is it Moop Dad?
That is correct.
Okay, where did that come from? Is that something your kid made up about you?
Actually, my kid, for whatever reason, named himself Moop in Discord, and so I just followed suit.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So when we say your kid, this is like a 20-year-old. This isn't like a 4-year-old.
He's more like a 30-year-old, but yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Hen, before we get started, do you want to kind of just share a little bit about yourself? I think it's worth sharing kind of like your background.
Yeah, sure. My name's According to Hen. That is not my official name. Yeah, so my background, right? I have a finance background. I've done most recently, I've worked in commodity markets, so trading commodity products. I didn't trade specifically, but I financed individuals and companies that were trading in the different commodity markets. Besides that, I have some experience in financial trading. I was a financial analyst and a financial advisor, like a personal wealth manager for a little bit of time as well. Not a financial expert in any way. Thank you for putting the ticker up. So none of this is financial advice, but I think I can bring somewhat of a kind of a financial background and kind of use what I've learned from those markets and kind of just show you kind of what the crypto markets is. And there's a little bit of more of a background on the crypto side. I am not a crypto expert at all. I kind of stumbled into the crypto world maybe around 2014, 15, right when some of the earlier coins came out. I bought a couple, like really small amounts, held them, kind of learned that way, got back into it around COVID time, and that really got into the NFT side. Found block packs. I think it was really the first project that I found and fell in love with it. Tried to get into a couple other NFT projects and they didn't go as well. So I kind of just stuck with block packs, and really it's been the fundamental, the foundation really of learning the crypto and NFT side a little bit more.
All right, great, thanks. All right, and so to kind of get into the meat of it, can you break it down as that? I know that sometimes folks, they will talk about BPX and then they'll talk about Miles and they're not sure, hey, is that something different? And then of course, some people might even reference Sparks. So let's clear that up right now. So BPX, which is technically a token, right? BPX token?
Yep.
Is that the BPX token and Miles and Sparks, that is all the same thing?
Yeah, so there's going to be there's different names for them out there, but yeah, BPX, which is a token, right? It is a crypto coin. It is the same thing as Miles used on the BlockPacks website, and Sparks that are to become the same as Miles. So same thing. So we can, if I use the verbiage of one, it's going to mean all of them for the same purposes for right now.
Okay, great. And can you, before we get into the liquidity pool, let's first talk about, so the token. So the token's been around 10, well, and actually, I know I asked you to think about this because that was something new. Originally, this discussion was around the liquidity pool. And the real quick short discussion about that is the reason why liquidity pools are important is, as you know, right now the price of BPX is, if you were to buy it, it's 0.0025, say right now. But the problem is, if you were to go and say, oh, that's great, I think it's going up, I'm going to buy $10,000 worth. If you went in to buy $10,000 worth, you can't buy it at that price. You have to buy what's available in the liquidity pool. So it's important to understand from a perspective of when you buy from the liquidity pool or whether you want to take a position. But so there's a lot of dynamics that go on that affect the price. And since you're using this token to buy Wonder's Existence pre-slabs, you're using it to buy real physical cards on the BlockPax marketplace, it's important that you understand what's going on. So I asked you, Hen, I said, hey, before we talk about the liquidity pool, which you have explained to me on a very simple way, so it's accessible to the average common caveman, I said, can we take a step back and can you just talk about the history of the token? So I don't want to rain on, and I asked him to do it kind of last minute this afternoon. So we might not have gotten much together, but my first question to you is, how long has this BPX token been around?
Yeah, it's good. I didn't have too much lead time, so I will kind of do this on the fly. No, but actually, if you go to, so I supplied Slappy with a couple links that he's going to post onto the website. Everything we're going to really talk about is kind of using those 3 or 4 links that I posted to him. One of them is a website called Dex Tools, and that is the site that I use to look at prices of certain coins, and it makes it easy to see the price of BPX.
And can I tell you something? And I bet you didn't know this. Infinite told me this.
Yeah.
Do you know where there's a shortcut to Dex Tools to the BPX price?
No, where?
Go on your page. Just follow my lead. Go to blockpax.com.
Yep.
Tell me when you're there.
Yep, I'm there.
Actually, can you share your screen?
Oh, gotta use this button again. Okay.
It's just the TV with the arrow down there. And by the way, Moopdad and Ben, interrupt with any questions or comments. This is not, we're very different. We're community oriented. We don't want to talk at people. We want to have a conversation. So please just make sure you speak up. All right. So you're at blockpax.com. Let's see his password. You didn't have to log in. All right. Scroll all the way to the bottom.
Oh, you don't want to see those miles.
Yeah, 3 million miles. Scroll to the bottom. He's a mile hoarder. All right. So when you go to the bottom, it's not a symbol I think most of us would understand, but when you see the Discord symbol, hover over the symbol to the right of the Discord symbol. So second one from the right.
Ah, yeah, that's their logo. There
and
we
it says
go.
Dex Tools, USDC, BPX. So Hen, they made it even easier. And that's one thing, Moopdad and Ben, we should tell you about BlockPax, is that most places you deal with, most companies, you beg them for improvements, you beg them for better features, and they drag their feet, and eventually after 6 months they get it out. BlockPax is the opposite. BlockPax, meaning the parent company of Bo Battle Arena, Wonders of the First, everything. They literally improve the site every day, and some of it's groundbreaking, and they don't even tell you. And so you're just, oh, okay, there it is. So this isn't groundbreaking, but Hen, that's really handy to have that right there at the bottom of the BlockPax page.
Yeah, I did not know it was there. So that's great. And since I'm sharing my screen, it doesn't have it here. No. What I do too is if there's a lot of links, right, and there's a lot of if you go to the Discord, right, and they have the official links, I just make a folder, right, and I save a bunch of them here. You can see some old crypto cats and other things in here, but I keep one for crypto, and it's good to save them on your desktop so you can have them all there.
So what you're saying is when you talk about buying in the pool, there's a finite amount of BPX or miles that are available. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let me just minimize this. Can you still see my screen? Probably not.
Nope, you stopped sharing the screen altogether.
Oh, there you are. All right.
And then my next question would be, if that's the case, how do we increase the pool? How does the pool get bigger?
Yeah, so actually, let's do this. I'm actually going to share my screen again. So to answer your question...
Yeah, let's get your technical issue out of the way so you can focus on Moopdad.
Okay.
Oh, you got the mirror. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to use one of my other links to answer before I answer your question. One of the links I also sent was, actually no, let's just keep using this one. So if we go to Dex Tools right here, right? So this is the BPX token. This is the token itself, right? That Miles and that Sparks are linked in a certain way too, right? If we come over on the left, we can see some valuable information over here, and this one right here, total supply. That is how much supply is. So there's 5 billion BPX tokens, and that answers your first question. So how much BPX is there? There's a finite amount of 5 billion. Now, that 5 billion is how much is out. Not all of that is out and released, right? BlockPax has released some information when they released it, and not all of that is out in the public. Some of that, a majority of that, is held by the team for future releases to slowly ease it into the environment, so it was not all out at once, so it could be dumped, right? Like you see.
In Hen, we don't know the exact number. When you say a majority held back, we're talking. I mean, there's 5 billion. Over 4 billion have not been released, right?
I don't remember. To be honest, I didn't want to speak to it because I don't remember the exact percentages. But
Well,
it is a large percentage. Yes, that has not been out.
And actually, we should say in the very beginning they released a lot of information, and I think they're trying to, as every project knows, and anybody in financial securities knows, the laws and regulations are very gray. And so I think what happened with BlockPax, they released a lot of information, and then their lawyers probably said, don't scrub that information. So that information is not available because you have to be careful, right? They don't want to run afoul of security laws.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, to answer, I guess, high level of that question, there was when BPX was released, a lot of it was given out to the community that was part of the community that was involved and that had done certain activities to gain them certain percentages of it, right? On that, once it was released, there was a lot held back, some for the team, some for marketing, some for future uses, and that made up the majority of the supply. So even though it's 5 billion, I think that 4 billion is very accurate. I would think even at this point, that is still kind of in the team's control.
And so
when we're talking, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So when we're talking about the supply, right? When in what's being released, so when we go on to purchase, like if we were to purchase straight off of the website, that would be a little bit different, right? That would be that would be pulling from that 4 billion, right? Not the stuff that's already out. Is that correct?
It's a great question. That's something that really hasn't been 100% portrayed to us. We don't really know the answer, right? The initial idea was that when you bought it, I think the plan was to then convert it over buy it from the pool, right? Buy like whatever was available in the pool to kind of compensate for that. We don't really know the answer. What we do know though is that BlockPax originally, when they released the coin, they had a large order in to buy it. BPX. They basically set the floor, and a lot of people, not a lot, but some people came in and sold that were part of that initial crew that got part of the initial drop. They sold their portion, and I know BlockPax had an open position and obtained some of that. So my assumption, and again, this is just my assumption, is they're using maybe some of those funds to some of that BPX, right? So when someone goes to the site to buy miles, maybe they're using from that pool. But we don't really know the actual answer for that. But you did bring up another point that I just wanted to be aware too, that if anyone is interested in getting miles, sparks, or BPX, right? And this is way over your head, and I totally understand that, because I mean, if you're not used to the crypto side, it may be a lot, right? Hopefully we can make it a little easier for you here, but you can go to the website and you can use your credit card, you can pay with fiat or whatever else they accept. I think they accept ETH as well. And you can buy directly from them for miles, right? So if you don't want to go through this whole process, you can buy directly from them. And since I'm sharing my screen, let's go on their site. You would go to over here and you'd say, get more miles. And you can see here, I mean, Slappy, while I'm talking, maybe you can do the math, right? But you get 100,000 miles. That's pretty easy math right there. But you get 100,000 miles for $1,000, right? So that's the price on their site. But then if we go to the pool here, the price doesn't match up 100%. And there's a lot of reasons for that, right? There's regulation reasons. They can't peg their price they're selling to this token directly. Also, there's a lot of fees of buying with a credit card or a bank account, right? For crypto, there's obviously a lot higher of a fee than if you're buying just a pair of
Yeah, the credit card fee is something like 10 to 20%. It's much higher.
So there's built-in cost there. So there will always be a difference there. And obviously, as a company, there's probably some profit, some kind of buffer in between as well, right? As to be expected.
So another question I had was, when we backed the Wonders of the First Kickstarter, they gave us, I think it was like 10 times the miles we spent on the Kickstarter. And so that's where I first got exposed to them, is those showed up on my BlockPacks account, and then I realized I could use those to buy more slabs. But the thing that was weird was those were non-transferable miles. I couldn't transfer those to anyone else.
It's a really great point.
So how is that different? And I noticed once I used all those up and bought more, now I can transfer them, now that I used all those up. But do you think they just pulled those from the other pool and they wanted you to spend those in the marketplace rather than hand them off? Or what was the deal with that?
I mean, again, so just we're going to put it out there again, like Slappy and I are not part of the BlockPacks team, so we're kind of just community members like you yourselves. So this is kind of all of our, we've been involved for a while, so we have some kind of background and knowledge about this stuff. But again, we're not members of the team, so just gonna put that up there first. But my understanding, right, is I mean, they're giving out essentially free money for you to go out and spend. My assumption would be they want you to spend it in in their economy, right? Build it up. They don't want you just to transfer it out and sell it. Where they got that from, again, they had some BPX initially. The team held some back, so I assume it's just some of theirs they've held back, that they've kind of designated and locked, so it can't be transferred out. There's probably more dynamics behind it than that, like internal accounting dynamics and whatnot. But the principle there is basically they want to boost their economy. They gave out a bunch of free money to people to kind of give them a little taste of the fun in their marketplace. And once you do trade it, then if you sell something else, you can transfer that out. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, before we go any further, a couple things. One, I thought there was something strange when you did that. The math wasn't striking me, and they've changed it. Because it was not this. In fact, when I just saw the 100,000 miles, I was like, "There's something wrong," because it was like 300,000.
It was miles. The other day I saw. Yeah.
Yes. So it's at that rate. That's almost 1 penny. That's 0.009. So that is almost 4 times what you can buy off the pool. And in fact, if you look at the $25 rate, which obviously is going to be because 1,000 miles for $25, that catches your eye. That's actually 2.5 cents. So that's 10 times what we're paying right. And you should pay right now, 1,000 miles should be $2.50. But if you buy it through that method, it's actually $25. Now, the one thing to keep in mind, let's be clear about what they're doing here. So BlockPacks is not looking at this as a moneymaker. In fact, they probably knowing them, they're trying to help people and they're probably not making money, but they put their tech into all the projects you see. They don't put it into, let's create a system that's going to not be pegged and is going to float and it's going to change the rate. And when you go to the website, it's going to be based on current market rates. And so I want to make one thing clear. It's not a higher rate because they're looking to make money. It's a higher rate because they go ahead and look at the rates and they set it, and they're a small company. They don't have somebody looking at this rate that gyrates erratically every day. And so they have to adjust it. But Hen, looking at this right now is that, at this point, it was an option before, but really you should be going to the pool at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point too, right? I mean, buying this, if you're getting BPX for the miles, doing it for to try to do it for financial gain, it'd be tough. I mean, it's not a very, and I'll go into this in a little bit. It's not a very liquid coin, right? And the utility really is for their website. So it's a lot of people that I talk to, whenever they get miles, they spend them right away, right? Because that's the intent and that's the purpose. Obviously, if you saw my account, I've been hoarding them. That's because I have hoarding problems. And but there are certain items that I've wanted to buy, and I just hadn't had enough for it before. So I'm building up a pool for that. But my intent is to eventually spend that. So if people are coming in here to try to like flip it, just be cautious, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, and this is educational purposes. And then what, Hen, when it's a good for you, Tito sent me a screenshot of the token supply, and so we can see what's held back. So when you're ready for me to share that, I can.
Oh yeah, definitely share that. Yeah.
Ben, did you have any questions right now while Hen's going?
Yeah, this is kind of a side note too, and maybe you guys will get into this in a little bit. Just kind of what the future possibility of the miles is going to be. Someone sent me. It was actually the guy that I started chatting with online, who bought the first box for like $30,000 or whatever, and he sent me a screenshot. It looked like a Facebook post or something of Jeff French saying something like, "Let those miles build and build because there's big things to come," or something like that. Or "You're going to want those miles because we're ready to play ball," or something like that. And I don't know if they've got something big in store, what you guys think about. And he also had alluded to the fact that there's going to be products that will only be available with miles. You're not going to be able to buy them at retail.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys' thoughts on that were.
I think that the team has made comments, right, that there is going to be BPX/miles/Spark only products, right? And I mean, to be honest, that's why I'm hoarding a lot of mine, right? Because I like the boba. You probably can see a pile of stuff behind me. That's some of my boba cards. I've been trying to put a deck together. But yeah, I think that collecting them, and again, this is not advice, it's just what I'm doing. I'm holding them because if they do come out with some of those products, I want to make sure I have enough for it. And we'll go into kind of, I guess, maybe we can bring this towards the end of the conversation on why. Maybe let me give a little bit more specifics in here, right? And let's just talk about maybe the coin just a little bit. Over here, there's some other good information, right? This liquidity number doesn't seem right. That's not right.
And this is a good time to point out. I mean, you're self-deprecating and say that you're not an expert. You know a lot more than most, and by far more than me. But I think the one thing to understand is you don't live in this world, and so you don't. There are some things that you don't fully understand. So that's why, we're not just saying this is not financial advice, educational purposes only. We mean it. Is that part of this is we're trying to, it's great when other people step up and say, yeah, I know that one part. But Hen knows more than most, but I'm going to put it out there. He knows more than he lets on, but he doesn't know everything. So
my wife reminds me all the time, I don't know everything. That is very true. I'm going to go to one of the other links that I sent you that Slappy's going to post on there. I just find it a little bit more helpful. It was this one, but I clicked too far. Okay, so I sent, we'll have these links posted so everyone can click on them as well. But this is Uniswap, right? So this is where you would go to trade the coin, right? To either buy BPX or go into their pool to add liquidity into the pool. I'm not going to go too much and show how to enter a position in the liquidity pool. We did a whole video on that, and we'll post the link if people are interested. It's a little long, but you can skip through a lot of it, but it will show you how to enter a position if you want to look into doing that.
No, wait, hold on. We don't have to get into it. But I don't have to explain other than the simple. I did it when you were, for folks who didn't know, Hen was supposed to do this last week. And of course, Tech Super and Gen Con on Around the Block made the joke that did he get bird flu? When I said you missed it because of flu, according to Hen, and yeah, they both thought it was funny. But I literally, Hen, can you connect your wallet? Because I want folks to know, like, literally in 20 seconds, you could go ahead and create a position in the liquidity pool.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a minute, though.
Why? Because you don't want to connect your wallet and you're afraid that and just in case people can figure out.
I'm sharing too much information right now.
Yeah.
Well, and somebody mentioned that Uniswap to me on the Discord, said, hey, if you want to buy miles, go to the Uniswap. And again, the crypto thing for me is brand new, and I just started learning about it with Wonders of the First. And so I'm kind of just getting my feet wet with that. But the thing I didn't understand, and maybe it's out of the scope of this conversation, but I didn't understand how I move the miles from whatever wallet I have to the BlockPax website. That's the thing I was confused about, is do I have to put those into MetaMask? And because I know my MetaMask wallet is linked to BlockPax, so can you transfer them to MetaMask and then put them into BlockPax, or is that beyond the scope of this conversation?
Oh, I can show you that pretty easily too. Here, let me go back to sharing my screen. Entire screen.
Because BlockPax, you don't really have a wallet, right? Or do you?
So for BlockPax, you do have a wallet. So up here, right? I mean, it's already showing, so I don't really care. This is my wallet up here, right? And you have a couple different options.
Hey, hold on. Wait, your wallet. Would you see? Oh, hold on. I gotta get the screen on. Okay, so I've got you back on screen.
So up here, where it says your miles, right? You
Right.
click on your wallet, and I showed you how you can buy more, right?
Right. Yeah, I've gone there before.
So if you want to swap these out, so you can press swap. And now I could swap all of my miles. Let me switch them. So I could swap all of my miles for BPX. Well, it does go 0 because you got to delete a couple. But it will show you then you can swap them for BPX. And if I press swap, I'm not going to do it, but it would send these miles to my wallet that it's connected through my account. So that's my wallet. Donations appreciated. It would send it to that wallet that's linked to my account.
So that wallet that's linked to your account is not BlockPax. It's a separate wallet on a different.
Correct.
Okay.
So that would if you would have to have set one up in MetaMask. You can see my logo up here.
Yes.
It would then send it to that MetaMask wallet, right?
Okay. Because I noticed on MetaMask you can't buy BPX on MetaMask, but if I buy them in Uniswap,
Yep.
I can send them from Uniswap to MetaMask.
Yeah. So for yes, exactly. So if you want to think of it like Uniswap is the liquidity pool, right? That is the pool that you go to buy the token.
Okay.
MetaMask has some great features in it that it allows you to buy coins like Ethereum, Bitcoin, right, directly through on MetaMask.
Right.
But MetaMask is just a wallet. So when you're buying that, all it's doing is using another partner's pool to buy it, right? So here we just have to go to the pool itself, because MetaMask doesn't have that direct link to really buy it from.
Okay.
Um,
Do you end up having like 1 million crypto wallets?
you do end up having a few, and there's security reasons. We could do a whole segment on that.
Because I thought I would just have one wallet. I was like, I'll just have one crypto wallet, and originally it was OpenSea, so that I could buy the serialized boxes, and then I ended up with a MetaMask wallet and a Uniswap wallet and a PayPal wallet. I have like 1 million of them now.
Yeah, so it's funny. So your OpenSea wallet, right? This is a good question or good point to bring up. You can just go to OpenSea, and you can connect. Like, so if you create a wallet in MetaMask, right?
So wait, hold on, Hen, before you go there. Just to know, because it's so funny, because we kind of stepped away from OpenSea when BlockPax created their own marketplace. And I remember having this discussion with Lord Seaton. You might be going down the path, and I might be preempting you prematurely. The Onus was telling me, he goes, no, I created an account at OpenSea. And I said, no, that's just a viewer. You know that OpenSea now does blockchain wallets, right?
Yeah, they have it there too. But I was
All right, sorry.
I was gonna have him search it to see if he actually opened there or opened it with MetaMask.
Okay,
but yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was shocked. I was shocked when he told. I was like, "What do you mean OpenSea doesn't have wallet?" Because just so folks know, you had your wallet, and OpenSea was merely a place you could view what was in your wallet. It was a marketplace to view assets, but it didn't actually hold the assets.
No, so it is a wallet now because
right.
I originally did OpenSea with just my email. I thought I don't want to do this whole MetaMask thing. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to use my email. So I opened a wallet with OpenSea.
Yep.
And then later, when I needed to use MetaMask, now I have a MetaMask wallet too. That's a different number.
Okay, so you actually do have a wallet there. All right, I was
Yeah.
hoping you'd have it just a minute. But if that's the case, then yeah, you're gonna have a few wallets all over the place.
Yeah.
What you can do, I mean, it's fine to have them in different places. You can also send your items, right? You can transfer them from
Right.
one wallet to another.
Right.
But if you're doing that, just make sure it's the same. It's the right address. It has to be on the Ethereum network. They're all on the same network.
And do you guys know, maybe you guys don't know this, that when we actually claim those serialized boxes, are we just going to burn the NFTs on OpenSea, or are those going to be transferred to block packs, or do you guys even know?
They haven't given us the instructions yet. I believe it's probably going to be something along the lines of you have to transfer them to a wallet, a BlockPax wallet, and then it will go right into your individual wallet on the BlockPax site.
Oh, okay. So we probably have to do something like the BPX. We probably have to transfer them to MetaMask, and then use MetaMask to put them onto the BlockPax site.
Whatever wallet you have. So if you have it on your OpenSea wallet, you could just go to your wallet. I mean, I'll show you how to do it on MetaMask. You'd go here, and then you would go. Well, I don't want to go actually on that right now. You click on that, and then you could just click on it, and it would transfer.
Oh, okay.
So you can do it in any of your wallets.
Okay, sorry, I got off on a tangent, on the crypto tangent here.
Yeah.
No, it's perfect. Good platform to ask those questions.
Okay, so one of the things is to get back. No, yeah, and I asked. We want to make it so there are questions. Appreciate everybody's watching. So Hen is just show us real quick is like how don't spend a lot of time explaining how quickly can you open a position in the liquidity pool.
Yeah. So if we go back to Uniswap.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
So on Uniswap here, right? This is the token site. So you can see here, explore tokens and then BPX. So this is the BPX token. It's on price. Let's go. To go into, and for some reason, and again, I'm not an expert as we went over. I don't know everything, so I don't know why. But sometimes the price and the info here is not always the best. So that's why I use the DEX tools that I showed you to find it. But this is the token site. If you go down.
And Hen, just to make clear to people, is creating a token is that anybody can do it. So the thing is, you want to make sure you have the right contract token, BPX, and that's a little bit more complicated. And again, I said I didn't want to bog you down on all this stuff, but before we get started, I just want people to know, it's like, for all we know tomorrow, if there becomes a lot of activity on the BPX token, somebody's going to create a copycat token. And then things like the contract address for the token is very important. Otherwise, you're buying a trash coin. You're not buying BPX. I'm not aware of any so far, but people need to know it could happen, right, Hen?
Yeah, and I think there actually is another BPX token. Not trying to mirror it, but I did notice there was a different one out there.
Yeah.
So when you're looking for it, right, that's why I said save it in on your favorites, right? Go to the Discord or BlockPack site, and they have, I think under the official links in the Discord, there is a link for the Uniswap, right? That will bring you to this page. And just make sure you go there and then save it in your favorites so you know you're going to the right one. But if you're on this page, right, when you come down here to pools, without going too much into it, basically there's different pools of what you are trading for your BPX. So here there's ETH for BPX and USDC for BPX. And to summarize it, the ETH one no one's using. You can see down here there's no TVL is total volume, right? It's like the liquidity in it. Right now, there's $11.9 thousand supporting the BPX to USDC pool, and there's 1 cent, right, in ETH. So there's really nothing. So this one's not being supported. So the only pool to use would be the USDC. So you'd click on there, and you can see all the transactions that have occurred here. And then if you wanted to enter a position here, right, or you could swap. So if I wanted to buy it, I could just go to swap here, and I would want to buy, say I want to use, I have meme coin. So maybe I want to use my meme coin and buy BPX. So you would just click however much you want, and then it would give you how much you can obtain for it, right? So if I gave 200,000 meme coins, don't ask, you would you could get 657,000 BPX, right? Coming down a little bit more into this, if you come down here, you'll see a couple important numbers. The gas price, so it's going to cost me about $10 to execute this trade, and then slippage. This basically means how much the price can change before when you're executing, right? So if you're executing this trade, it could have a big impact on price. There are bots out there that can, as you're selling the meme coin to get into the BPX, someone could come in and have a quicker transaction, and kind of, it's called sandwiching, right? And they could basically manipulate the price and buy it cheaper, and then you buy it from them. I won't get all into that, but slippage basically protects you from that. So you just want to make sure 0.5% is great. Don't ever change that is my point here. And then you would just press review, and it would pop up, and you'd press yes, go ahead, and you would be able to exchange your coins for BPX. That's how to buy from the pool, and we'll talk about the ramifications of that in a minute. But let me just show you how to add liquidity. So say you wanted to add a position in the pool. And for those that don't know, adding a position in the pool is, let me give the basics of that, right? So what I just showed you is you going and saying, you want to, if in finance terms, you're doing a market buy, right? So you're going and saying, I'm going to buy the coins at the current price with my money, right? Or whatever token I'm using. To enter into the liquidity pool is kind of like doing options, right? So you're going in and saying, I will buy or sell, and I'll talk about that in a second too, but I will transact between this range, between BPX at this price and BPX at this price, right? Now, what's different here than options, right, is when you're entering the liquidity pool, you are essentially opening both a call and a put, because when you open a position, you are saying, I am providing liquidity, not I am buying, right? So when you enter the liquidity pool, say you're going to fund it with, let's just say 1,000 USDC, right? And I am willing to, and you have to set a minimum price that you're willing to trade at, and a maximum price that you're willing to trade at. So any trades that happen, whether that be buying BPX for USDC or selling BPX for USDC, when you open your position, you are opening yourselves to both of those, right? So just be aware of that. So if your goal is to only buy, right, or only sell, just be aware when you open a liquidity position, you can't control that. You are just opening yourselves to buys and sells. You are the liquid provider, right? At that point.
Yeah, and the best way to say it is, it's almost like, well, my analogies usually fall flat, Hen, but say you only want dollar bills, you don't want quarters, and so you take all your quarters down to the bank, $100 worth of quarters, and so the bank is like, somebody comes in and they're like, I really need quarters, and they give $50, or they want $100 in quarters. So boom, they give 100 ones, and they take your 100 in quarters you brought in that morning. The bank teller calls you up and says, hey, come on down. Somebody just switched it out. By the time you get there, somebody else walked in the bank and said, I really want singles. Here's all these quarters I have. And so then they go ahead and they switched it back out. You want to have dollar bills, you don't want quarters, but by putting that money in the bank, you're just giving them liquidity, and it's going out, in and out the door, back and forth, and it just, you can't control what's happening.
Yep. So I'm actually on the wrong page. I'm just gonna go back for a second. That was so to open it, I have a position open, so it brought me to that when I clicked there. But to open a new position, I'm just gonna press new here, and you will get this page, and you will say, what do you want to pair it with? And again, I'm gonna do this really quickly, right? So we're gonna do ETH for BPX. The tiers down here, again, you can watch the full video that we posted before, but you're going to choose the, I don't know why it's doing that. Because it's probably going to be BPX.
Yeah, and you leave that blank, the other one. I know, that's the problem I had when I did too.
So it's got to be 0.3. So then you press continue. So this is basically setting that range we talked about. This middle line, actually, let's do, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so this middle line here is the current price, right? So let's say I'm interested in just buying. I mainly am entering the pool if prices come down and I can buy it cheaper, right? So I don't want to support at the current price. I want to support it if it goes all the way to 0 to all the way to 0.0021, right? So it's at what is it right here? 0.00226 right now. So you would just, I set it to that, and I would just press continue. And I would have to deposit. I only have 270 in this one, so I would put 270 bucks, and I would be putting 270 USDC in, and I would just press review. I can do a review because it's fine. And then right now it costs $13 to do it. It's actually a little high for this time at night. Surprisingly, it usually comes down a little lower. And then I would just press create, and then I would open my position, and it would be open. It's that simple. It really is that simple, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the best part is on the left side. It's 3 steps. New position, 1, 2, 3. That simply.
The only difference I'll show you is, say you want to open a position and you want to support it on both sides. So it's currently trading here, and you're like, well, I want to support it if it goes higher and lower, right? And people do that because if you put liquidity into the pool, you get fees. So every time anyone buys or sells, you get a small fee for that, right? You get part of that 0.3%. So maybe you want to do it to just support the pool. If I did it this way, right? And let's just say that's good, and I go continue. Now I have to supply both BPX and USDC. So you would have to already have some BPX. And that's because, right, you're saying you're supporting both sides, which includes higher prices. So you'd have to sell BPX for USDC. And that's why you would need the BPX here initially. And I don't have any that's not already obligated or in a position, so I wouldn't be able to execute this. But again, you would just press execute, and there you go. It's that simple.
So with that range, the lower end, if it hits that, you're buying, and if it hits the higher price, people are buying yours.
Oh, actually no. So in this range, right? If I executed exactly how it is, mine would go day one. It would start buying and trading. Everything in between this range, you are supplying liquidity for. So until, I guess to answer, to correct you, until you get to the minimum, then you would stop providing, and until you get to the max, you would stop providing.
So the window between the current price and the higher price, people can buy from you.
Yep. You're creating the window. So I'm literally, I can make it a bigger window, and I can make it super small. But in this window, I am creating liquidity, and only in that only in that window. Once it's outside, like the current price, right? I could set it down here, right? And I could open the position, but it would be out of range. And I can actually show you a great example of that, because I can, I have one that's out of range. I have this position. So this position I am providing 93,000 BPX, right? And the minimum price is basically 5 cents to a maximum of infinity. So this is saying once it hits 5 cents, I'm willing to provide 93,000 BPX into the pool. And the idea behind that is if it ever hits 5 cents, then I will start selling that 93,000 for USDC.
Until it's gone.
Until it's, and I have it to affinity, and the larger window you have, right, the longer it will be you can provide in that pool. So like if your goal is to just sell this quickly, like if I wanted to hit 5 cents and be out, I would have my window be like 0.00499 and then 0.0501, right? You'd have a very short window if you want to just liquidate it.
Okay. But what I mean is once your BPX is gone, obviously your position closes because you're out of BPX, right?
Great question. No. The answer is no. It is, your position is open until you remove your liquidity and close your position. So it is still open. The price might not be in the range anymore, but your position, like this one we're looking at right now, it is open. It is an active position in the liquidity pool, but it's not in the range, so it's not trading. So if I wanted, say this executed right now, right, and I'm like, cool, I got all this USDC for this, you would then have to press remove liquidity, and I would just say max, and then I would press remove. I would click that there, and then I would close out my position.
So if there's, and maybe you don't
So-
know this, but if there's multiple people with the same window, how do they know who it's getting pulled from?
And Hen, after this is Moopdad, I think had a question, but answer that and then let's go to Moopdad.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's the black box of Uniswap, right? I don't know how they allocate who gets what purchases. I do know that I have, in my positions, I know there have been other positions open within the same window, and I've gotten pieces of it, and they've gotten pieces.
Okay.
I don't know the full answer to
Well,
it.
and Ben, are you familiar with level 3, the level 3 trading in securities?
No.
So there's a way. It used to only be for the brokerage houses, the big financial companies, and the average investor can do it. And basically what would happen is the trading desk could see all the buys and sells. So they could kind of see how low a stock's going to go, because now they can pull it at any time, and the sales can drop, and it's not a foolproof, but they can see a lot behind the wall, like where people are betting their money on a stock. And so not every average retail investor has that. You have to have level 3 quotes, but you can see a lot more information to kind of see what's going on. And Hen and I were talking about this, is that we don't seem to have, this is the blockchain, so it definitely is the transparency. It's just the viewer for it, like it's just not clear how we're able to see all that information. And I had one other thing I wanted to add about kind of following up on what you said to Ben, but Moopdad, did you have a question or a comment?
My question is just, so I understand opening the position and selling and selling, right? What I don't understand is why the position doesn't close itself, right? Does the BPX replenish itself? Because
Yeah.
it seems like that's, and I guess how does that work?
By the way, I have to say, Hen, like this is the thing, is that I just heard it over and over and over again, and it's so hard because I think most of us are used to buying and selling a stock, and you just really, like, this is not finance, this is not a security, but it's very easy for our minds to think of it like a stock, and I did for a very long time. And honestly, guys, we did four-part segment with Hen, and so that's the only reason why, like, I think it finally got through in my head that it's just, I mean, Hen, am I wrong? Like, I think Moopdad's still thinking it like a stock. You bought it and you closed your position.
That's how I thought of it too initially, right? So the way to think of this is kind of like how I started it, right? Like when you enter the liquidity pool, you're not buying or selling. You are entering the pool to provide liquidity. So you're saying between this window and this price, between these prices, this window, I am providing liquidity. If the price moves in my window and my window is open, I am open for business. My position is trading. If the price moves outside of it, it's still active. My window is still there. It's just not it's not being traded, but I have to close that window in order to stop providing it.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Hen.
I was going to say, to answer your question, right, how it works is if I have, let's go back to that. Let's just do a new example.
And while he's getting that up, Moopdad, the one point I was going to make, maybe we need to stop looking at it like he's putting 2,000 USDC into the liquidity pool. I think what we need to look at it, maybe it's easier to say, Hen is putting $2,000 worth of liquidity in, whether it's BPX or whether it's, like, for instance, when he straddled both sides, right? He had to provide BPX, he had to provide USDC. So it kind of like that might be the best example, Hen, to show, because when you straddle it and you have to come up with 100,000 BPX and you have to come up with 1,000 USDC, that captures it perfectly. You're not buying BPX, you're not selling BPX, you're not buying USDC. You're providing a asset, a pool of assets to provide liquidity. So it's, I mean, Moopdad is that, and Hen's going to bring it up, but is like, does that make any, I mean, like I said, we were exactly where you were, and it just took us time. Like, I wish there was a magic way of explaining it, because it doesn't really make sense.
Well, I guess the other thing I would say, right? So if you're providing within this window, right? and you have, let's just say it's 1,000 BPX, right? If the price is right here, right? It's outside of the window, it's higher. As the price moves into your window, right? This is just giving a little insight. When it moves into your window, your 1,000 BPX you have, you'll start well, this would be USDC. So I have 1,000 USDC, and my goal is to buy BPX, right? So as the price of BPX comes into my window, my 1,000 USDC will slowly start buying the BPX, right? Slowly start buying it. And until it comes to outside this window, I will never have bought 100%. I will still have some USDC while it's in my window, right? That's why I said if your goal is to buy or sell really quickly, you want to have a small window, because then it will go through your window very quickly. If you have a large window, your full amount will not be executed until it comes outside of your range, right? I don't know if that helps describe it any better, but it's not like when it's in this range, it will instantly convert everything, like all 1,000 USDC for BPX. It has to gradually go through your whole window before it's all converted over.
And so sorry, go ahead, Ben.
I was going to say, so with the window, basically what you're saying is you're going one way or the other. And if it goes to one end, you're going to go all BPX. And then if it goes to the other end, you're going to go all USDC.
Yep.
Is that right? And so,
yeah.
So that's why it would stay open, because you're going to have one or the other, always.
Yep. You'll always have, yeah. And again, if you want to do, a lot of coins do this, right? A lot of people do this, is they provide liquidity into the pool specifically and only really for the fees. So if you're looking to generate fees for it, you would have a very large window, and then it would always pretty much be within your window, and you're always collecting the fees. Obviously the risk there is then when you exit the pool, you will either be more USDC or less or more BPX, right? So like, you don't know where you're going to end up when you have such a large window like that.
And so two things also just to mention is that, so yesterday I went to the pool and I bought $2,000 worth of, so first I went and bought $2,000 worth of ETH. Then I went ahead and I swapped it for BPX. And at the time, BPX was at, I think, 0.0023. And my average price, after I got done buying it, now I added the fees, so that skews it a little bit, because the fee I had to pay to PayPal to buy my ETH. But I came out a little bit. I think my final number was 0.0029. So let's say without the eBay fee, PayPal fee, it's 0.0028. So when I looked on Dex Tools, right, it's 0.0023 or 25. I paid 0.0028 because, Hen, correct me if I'm wrong, but what happened is, everybody who had BPX in that range, or let's go this way, everybody who had BPX in this range, they filled my order, it slid through their range, it took everything they had available. Then I went to the next range above of somebody else, and I slid through there. And so what was happening is, of my $2,000, I picked up $500 at 0.0023. I picked up 1,000 at 0.0026. I picked up 1,000 at 0.00, and actually, Hen, it was at 0.0038, I think, when I got done. And so basically what happened, it was insane. If you look at that last 24 hours, you'll see that spike up there. But the reason why, so it said 0.0023 when I bought it. It ended at 0.0038 when I was done, and I paid 0.0029. I don't know if that makes it easier to understand or it makes it more confusing. But
yeah, that definitely helps, because I guess what you're saying is, so the only time your money, or I guess your tokens are going to change is if the price changes, if people buy. And if people buy, the price goes up because it decreases the supply. And if people sell, the price goes down because it increases the supply, right?
Yeah, and so I will say this. So the reason why I was in the liquidity pool, because the fees are not great. People are still trading over the counter with each other, and they're not coming here. And eventually one day, I mean, the market's getting bigger with the Wonders and the Bow Battle people. So eventually, when people start going to this more frequently, it'll, the most I made was like $5 in gas fees and like 5,000 BPX. That wasn't my intention. But the other thing you can do, and this is one of the strategies, not financial advice, but this is what I did. I opened a position for 2,000. I wanted to convert it all over to BPX. But what I found is every time somebody would go in my range, somebody I'm looking at you, Sonny, and Big Dobbs and Dr. Bray would come in And when I would convert my US dollar over to BPX, somebody would come in and buy my BPX from me. And then I'd go back to USDC. And so what I found is, okay, my whole 2000 is never going to convert all over when I'm in the pool, because to Hen's point, I kind of had a wide range there, and it would just go back and forth. And so what I did is when I would have $400 worth of BPX, I would close my position. And why would I do that? I did that because I knew when I went in and bought yesterday at 0.0023, I knew I was going to pay more than that when the $2,000 sale went through. But I was okay because I personally feel like BPX should be at a penny right now, and I know it's headed there. That's not financial advice. That's what I think. And I wanted to buy some below 0.003. So I knew yesterday when I was buying that I wasn't going to pay more than that. I'd be close to that. And so I didn't want to mess around with the liquidity pool, so there is a way you can treat the liquidity pool like a buy, but you have to watch it like a hawk. When it gets converted from US dollar over to BPX, you got to close your position immediately so you retain that BPX. And then what I did after, I took 400 out, then I opened a new position for 1600. And then once 300 converted over to BPX, I closed it out. So what's the point of doing that? The point is, if it's trading at 0.0025 and I only want to pay 0.0025, I can't buy $2,000 worth without paying a higher price. I can open a BPX liquidity pool position and pay 0.0025. That's the benefit of the pool. It should be fees, but there's not enough fees to really make it worth your while. But you can do this if you don't want to pay higher.
And let's talk about why, right? So the reason, and I have an example too. I think was like a month or two ago, I went in and I said, I think I wrote in the Discord, I Leroy Jenkins BPX, right? I went in and bought like $1,000 worth, and it shot the price up, right? Which was great until like a day or two later when people sold, and then it came right back down to where it was, right? So the reason there's these big swings in it is just because there is not a lot of liquidity in it right now. That's why if you add liquidity, it's helping stabilize the coin. But if we look on the DEX tools, you can even see, thought there was a liquidity one here. Yeah, well, that's not right. 92.2 thousand. There should be a number for here for total liquidity. I think it's like 12,000. It's under like $12,000. I don't know where I saw it.
Hey, by the way, while people are looking at, I know we've got some people watching. So if anybody wants to enter, I'll give away 1,000 BPX, and I'll spin the wheel in the Radish Discord. But Moop Dad and Ben, I'll put you guys in on it. But if anybody else in the audience, just drop 1,000. Just drop your Discord name and put 1,000 BPX next to it, and then I'll randomly pick one person.
So you can see there's 12.34 thousand USDC in the pool. So that's all the USDC that's available to convert BPX to. So that's a very low amount, right? And if you come over to this page, you can kind of like scroll over and kind of see the different levels that it's at. I think that position I showed you was around 5 cents. You can see it here. It says BPX liquidity 185,000. Looks like there's probably someone else that has some BPX at that price point. And then there's a giant one. It says 0, but I know. I mean, I don't know what the tier, like the heights of these all mean, but I know that there's a big buy at 1 cent. So there's some liquidity there once it gets that high, but overall there's not a lot of liquidity here, right? And that's why you see these big swings. That's why if you go in and you're gonna just do just a swap, right? So I want to pay 270 USDC for BPX. It's 117,000 or 118,000 BPX I'd get, but it could have a big price on the coin, right? I would expect that 0.00225 to drastically change, not drastically because it's only like a $300 buy, but if you were buying like 2,000 or 3,000, it would have a very large impact on the price. Just my 2 cents, or 0.000 BPX.
Very funny.
So that price would stabilize then if a whole bunch of people opened up a big window of liquidity. That would just add more liquidity to the market, and so the price wouldn't swing quite as much because there'd just be a lot more available.
Yeah, you want to go. I mean, that's a big market dynamics conversation. But yeah, I mean, that one of the answers is adding liquidity to the pool will help stabilize the price, right? Obviously, supply and demand have to come into effect there. But if there is the underlying issue, is part of it is there needs to be more liquidity in the pool, right? So that is correct.
And on
We
the other
really-
side of that, so when they see the price stabilize, they see it stabilize lower, then we see the big buys, and eventually buys out our liquidity. And
Yeah, I will say when we say stabilize lower, right? So the price that it's at right now, right? I wouldn't say it's stabilized because there's just not a lot of activity, right? I mean, you can see the transactions here. I mean, there's a few transactions a day. There's been a few in the last few days, but I mean, the price has been jumping between 0.002 and 0.003, right? There's not a lot of liquidity there that's stabilizing that price. Again, this is a trend I've seen. I mean, once it gets down to like the 0.002, 0.021 levels, you see a lot more buys, and that's what you're seeing right here. Like all the last ones have been buys, right? Or is that the opposite? Might be the opposite. Well, there's sells actually. That's why that site gets a little confusing. That's why I always go to Dex Tools. It makes it easier down here. But yeah, you can see some.
Wow, they just sold 499,000.
Yeah, that was pretty recently, wasn't that? That was like 15 minutes ago. Is that right? Who knows military time?
That's 7:45. I just don't
Yeah.
know what time zone it is.
Yeah, it's 2 hours ago.
Yeah. Is it East Coast time or does it just what year?
That's why it jumped down when you started talking. It was 0.025. That's what the big decrease was.
Which, to be honest, though, only 500,000 driving it down. Hey, real quick, I want to cover two things just so we can close the loop on a couple things. I will say it's interesting is that somebody was talking about Legends, somebody new, and somebody on the Radish team shared a link in DMs. And it's funny because with the new folks, what I always tell them is that we are scam central more than anyone else. We have the most valuable assets on the blockchain. CryptoPunks and Bored Apes are more valuable, but we just have generically kind of level like a ton of valuable assets, and a lot of people weren't used to holding blockchain assets. So there are a lot of people coming into scams. So the number one thing I recommend is that Radish Digital, you can trust our links over on our website, but don't accept even people because people will do imposter accounts on Discord. So you can trust the links that we're going to put up at radishdigital.com after the show gets done, but also BlockPacks. They have an official links channel, and I just want to stress to use that. This is your Bible. It's funny with Yo-Yo909. I talked to him, and he said, no, I always go there. You told me that's my Bible. So if you look towards the top, you have announcements, and then you have information. And so information is official links is in there. And it's a lot of great stuff. Wonders the First, Bow Battle Arena, all that stuff's in there. But going back to what Hen was talking about before is right here under the block packs. And then you're going to go services, and it's going to go BPX swap on Uniswap. So you click on that, and that takes you over to this page. And again, we were talking about the BPX token having the right contract address. So you always want to go there with them, is that make sure you're getting the right token. The other thing is I want to show is that someone just shared a tweet from Frenchie, or a post from Frenchie. And he was saying, he was talking about Wonders of the First, CCG players. And he said, we have our eyes deadlocked focused on the ball for Bow Battle Arena, Wonders of the First, and HTH, and the broader 2025 expansion of block packs as the world's leading real-world asset platform for ripping physical cards from digital packs. But make no mistake, world, we aren't stopping there. We are here to leave a mark deep and wide, and we will utilize BPX as their reward miles, with some products only available for those holders.
Yeah, that was the one I was talking about. That's it. That's the exact one I was talking about.
Yep. So that just to give you a sense of why it's important to understand BPX, why it's important to hold BPX is exactly because of this. And then I just want to show you one other thing is that we were talking before of the 5 billion token. So Hen, I think we can reasonably assume that one account with 4.6 billion, that's BlockPax holding that back.
Well, that's also that's part of the community pool, I would assume too. So like the BPX and on the marketplace on my account is included in that.
I thought there were subfolders, so it's not. No,
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I would assume it's
maybe.
I don't know.
I can't imagine the community has. I mean, altogether, it's not more than 200 million. I wouldn't think. Would you? Well, then again, Meta Jungle. I'm not sure about that.
I don't know.
Yeah. And I think those were the two things that. Thank you, Tito Machado, for sending those links so I could share those. I think that wrapped it up. But Hen, before we go back and see if they have any other questions, we're sitting here at 1 hour and 5 minutes, so we just passed the hour. We're trying to get better at keep things down to half an hour. This is a complicated issue, so I'd rather go long and keep talking about it until people's eyeballs bleed and kind of hammer it home. So Moopdad, I don't think we ever circled back Hen with him. As Moopdad is it making more sense about how liquidity pool is different than a buy sell?
I would say I think so.
That's right. You're ahead of where I was at this point. I will say that.
So is it so you go to the so it goes beyond your buy, right? So to have a position, do you have to have both ends, or can you only have one end?
So if you want, you can do it. So the first example I was showing you, right? If your plan is to convert USDC for BPX, let's use that as an example, right? And you are on one side of the price. So if the price is in the middle, right? The current trading price is here, and you're like, if it comes lower than the current price and I want to buy, then no, you only need USDC to convert to BPX. Now, if you were on the other side, you will need only on the other side, you will need all BPX, right? And it will convert the BPX to USDC, so you don't need any USDC in the beginning. But if you're straddling the current price, you do need both.
So if I only took a position on one end, right? I took I only wanted BPX, and I took a USD position, right? A USDC position.
Mm-hmm.
And it went beyond my price. So theoretically, I used all my USDC, correct? And it was converted to BPX.
Moopdad, why don't you use Moopdad, just so we're all on the same page? You just make up numbers and say like BPX now is at 5 cents.
So I have $1,000, right? Yep. I put $1,000 position, and I go and I convert it all to BPX. Mm-hmm. When it starts coming back down, it doesn't go the other way, right? Even though my position isn't closed, I still have no more US dollars in there, right? It's all BPX. Is that correct?
So Hen, I just need to understand. So say BPX was at 5 cents and he wants to convert USDC over to BPX. So he has to open a position less than 5 cents. So he opens a position, let's say between 4.5 and 4.5 cent to 4.9 cents. And so his position converts completely over. His 1,000 USDC becomes all BPX. And then, sorry, Moopdad. And then what happens next? What was your?
My position's still open, correct? But there would be no activity after that, right?
Yeah.
Or am I missing something?
No, yeah, you're right. If it goes through your whole window, right? That's the term I use. I don't know if it's the actual term, but if it goes through your whole window, right, and you convert all your USDC to BPX, right? Your position's still open until you close it. You can close your position at any time. You can close it while it's halfway executed, right? You can close it any time throughout the process. But let's say it's all been converted and you haven't closed it, right? That window is still open. So if the price then creeps back up, right, it could
So if
then
somebody comes in
convert.
and buys, if somebody buys $10,000 worth of BPX, and it's going to go right through his
Yeah,
range.
let's just say it brings it right back. It goes right through your range again. It will convert all the BPX you had converted, all the BPX you had accumulated because it converted over. It will now unconvert, right, and convert back to your USDC, and then you would be back to your 1,000 USDC, and then it would stop because it would be out of your range again, right? So again, unless you close the position, if it's open, it can go one way or the other, right, until you close it. That's why if you're adding to the liquidity pool, yes, it's like having like a call or a put option, right? Like, or not, that's not good. It's like having a limit order, right? In stock buying, but it's always open and it could cancel your trade out, if that makes sense, right?
And it maybe Mubdad, this is another way of looking at it. So the price is at 5 cents, and you open a position between 4 and 4.5 cents. And it goes right through, and Hen comes in and he sells that 3 million BPX we just saw in his wallet, and it goes right down through your position, and your 1,000 USDC converts over at 4 to 4.5 cents. I have a position at 3 and 3.5 cents, and he comes down and he hits my position and he takes half of what I have. So now it's trading in my 3 to 3.5 cent pool position that I have. Well, then comes in and he says, I'm going to buy $10,000 worth of BPX. So all the USDC that had converted over to BPX in my 3 to 3.5 cent range, he buys everything I have, and that's not enough. So then it goes up to the next range, and you're the next person, and you're sitting there with your million BPX or whatever your 1,000 BPX converted over to. And so he buys all yours, and then it goes up above you. And so now you're left with US dollar and not BPX. Did that help at all? Again, my analogies usually suck. I thought that was a pretty good one, man.
I would just say, Mubdad, the long answer here is just, if you have a position in the liquidity pool, you have to pay a little bit more attention to it and close it at a time that you think is appropriate. As an example, when Slappy and I was showing him some of the positions I had opened and I was talking about it with him, I closed my position earlier, right, before executed, right? I forget how much I put in. Let's just say it was 1,000 USDC. I closed it before it had converted all to BPX because I wasn't sure if the price was going to keep coming down. I had gotten a lot of it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to close it now. So I closed it. So you do have to pay attention if your goal is short-term conversion, right? If your goal is to convert it all, then yeah, you have to pay a little bit more attention to the price and how much has been executed through it.
And if you're just trying to hoard BPX, then you're waiting for people to sell and the price go down, and then you just buy it.
Yeah,
right?
and listen, I mean, if your goal is to hoard BPX, and this is a little bit complicated, I'm not gonna lie, right? And you got to pay attention to it. I mean, you can go in and you can do small market orders, right? Maybe don't buy 1,000 at once because that will probably have a big impact. But you can go in and do smaller orders, more fees doing it that way, but it's easier, right? And then the easiest way is to buy it from the BPX site, but obviously it's you pay attention to the conversion rate because right now it seems a little high. But that is another option. So there are multiple options here. Just trying to give them all to you guys.
Does it? I guess it doesn't really have any effect on the marketplace when people are selling BPX on the side, because that's really the way I've gotten all mine. Is just I'll ask on the Discord and say, and then some people had hinted to something about how that's messing things up or something when people are doing it on the side like that. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, someone will just say, hey, I'll sell you, 100,000 for this price, and you just PayPal them or something.
Yeah. So like over the counter trading and not on Uniswap, right? It's a point, and some people are very very high opinions, very strong opinions, right, on if it should be allowed or not, or like how it impacts it. At the end of the day, and this is I'm gonna say it's a non-biased but like educational viewpoint on it. If it is trading over the counter and a buyer and seller is accepting the price of the Uniswap price for an over-the-counter price, then it has no impact. There is an equilibrium. They've accepted the price and they're using it, right? So yes, it's annoying that it's not on Uniswap. I love everything to be on Uniswap because I like the blockchain technology. I like the transparency, and you could see how much, and you could see all those trades. At the end of the day, you have a buyer and a seller that agree upon a price. So it's not, in my opinion, it's not impacting it because there is an equilibrium there, right?
And that's actually, that's not a bug. That's actually that's an intended attribute of this community, which it frustrated Frenchie and BlockPax to a certain extent, is because when BlockPax was early and everything was done on the blockchain, Frenchie, the problem they had is we didn't get traction on OpenSea is because everybody did everything off chain, and we would just make deals and transfer it back and forth. And when you do that, you don't create this sales history, and you don't hit the algorithms that show, oh, this is a moving collection. So what's interesting is, you know, and in the old days, and again, so Ben and Moopdad is like, what you have to understand is this is the most trusting community. It's unheard of in the blockchain. It's unheard of in the real world, and it's unheard of on the blockchain. And one of the most valuable assets in here, the Lost Miner. It's funny because Alpha Trilogy, he ended up buying that from Tito Machado. It's the last NFT on the ETH proof of work before the ETH merge. It's the last NFT ever created from that chain, and he ended up buying for roughly, I think it was 40,000. It was in assets and different assets, 40,000. And the funny thing is, Alpha, we did a special show where we had Alpha and Tito come on a show, and we talked about the transaction. And I asked Alpha afterwards, and I was like, did you even think twice about sending it? And he's like, I wouldn't even think twice about that. He sent $40,000 before he even had the asset. He didn't do it officially like a sale on OpenSea. He didn't do anything with the intermediary. He literally sent this person $40,000 worth of, and then Tito, if he's still watching, he's going to correct me on some of the details, but it was roughly like, it was like 40,000. But that's what's good about the community. But going back to the Uniswap, right, Hen, is that it's hard because to have widespread adaptation is that people need to feel more comfortable using it, and this liquidity pool position is like, it's insane.
Yeah, and I mean, to add to that too, I mean, I've done thousands of dollars of deals with people in this community. Hell, I met Slappy, and we had some drinks in person. So it's like you meet a lot of good people in this community, a lot of good people, and I mean, there's been some people I've Venmo'd money without getting an asset for like hours later. Like but again, you got to get to the trust level, right? And make sure you do trades with and get to know the people. But yeah, the community, that's such a strong point, an attribute to this community.
Yeah, I think I was shocked when I first started trading the Wonder Slabs. You know, I was talking to someone I didn't even know, and they said, I'll send mine first. And I thought, seriously? You don't even know me. You're just going to send it? And almost every time that I get something, I'll send mine first. Okay.
Yeah, it is great. And I see Bond Guy's up on stage. Bond Guy, did you just want to join us up here? Do you have a question or a thought?
Well, you know, I've been listening to the stream. I think it's very helpful. Certainly, you know, I've been a big part of BlockPax for a long time, as you know. And I think, you know, the whole crypto thing, and to be honest with you, I've been in the financial industry for over 35 years, and I've traded derivatives and structures of complex, you know, all different kinds of products. And I never knew anything about crypto at all. So, you know, when we first started with BlockPax, and I started with OpenSea and my MetaMask wallet, you know, I realized, you know, some of the fees and some of the things that I was getting hit with. I'm like, I think they'd throw me in jail if I were to charge these kind of fees, you know.
Man.
So it became a little frustrating, you know. But what it really did is it made me dig deeper into the product and try to figure out a way to kind of break the system or whatever. But, you know, I think when BlockPax went to their own website, the beauty of that is, you know, all the fees and all that were taken out, you know, and, you know, so it became more helpful with that. But, you know, going in and buying the ETH and converting it to the BPX and moving it to the wallets and doing all that kind of stuff was something that I had never done. So this information is something that I've never done either, you know, you know, setting up the target ranges and things like that, which I think are pretty cool, because what I've always done is waited for the price to go low and just jumped in, bought a bunch of ETH and came in and bought some BPX, not in big numbers, but enough to just kind of, you know, buy some things, or, get some things done on the site and whatever. But I've got so many of the slabs on the website, or that I have that are in my wallet that I could sell or whatever. But I generally don't sell anything. I just sold my first thing, I think, for the first time. But
You
anyway,
and me both.
Yeah.
my
three of us.
point being is, for someone who's been in the industry for a very long time, not really knowing anything about crypto, this kind of just, I'm older, so the younger generation can certainly, respond and understand quicker than my thinking. But, it forced me to understand it. So I thought that was great.
No, I appreciate that. And you know what, Bonga, I got to show you a screenshot I have from like 2016, 17, talking
Yeah.
about fees.
Yeah.
I was going to buy some Bitcoin, and I think I was going to buy Bitcoin was cheap back then, and it was going to cost me like $150 to execute the trade. And I'm like, well, there's no way. I mean, it's like, Bitcoin maybe was like, I don't know, I think it was under $1,000 at that point. I'm like,
Right.
10%, I'm not over 10%. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I have a
Yeah.
screenshot of it because I wish I had, but
You think about the banks and what their
I know.
their limit is in terms of fees and things like that. But even in a brokerage transaction, when there's a guideline of 4%, but you look at 2% is kind of like the range. I mean, if anything is outside of that, you just kind of you're taken back by, really? They're going to charge me that much? So when I went to the BlockPack site the other day, I was looking at that, and I was doing the numbers in my head. I'm like, wow. I said, it really doesn't make sense to go in and purchase off the screen with your credit card when you can go to the open market like this. But some people just don't have that capability because they haven't done this, like me. If I hadn't done this years ago, or not years ago, but 3 years ago, and really became more familiar with it, I wouldn't know how to do it either.
Well, I have to say though,
perfect.
but you want to know, I was just talking to somebody newer, and they kind of had that hesitancy, and it is amazing. A lot of concern is the blockchain will never have widespread adoption because it's too complicated. But I will say this it is so much easier than it used to be. I mean, where you used to have to do MoonPay, and like different services were illegal in the United States, and like they were there, then they were gone. But I use my MetaMask wallet, and PayPal. You know what's funny? PayPal used to only be on mobile, and I couldn't get it on desktop MetaMask. I don't know why. It would never come up. But anyway, now when I go to MetaMask, it just connects to PayPal. And I was just explaining to somebody new in the community when I bought it, is that I think for $2,000 ETH buy, it was a $50 fee. Now, could I shop around and get a cheaper fee to buy that much? I probably could, but if I'm going to save 20, but my whole thing is, in some company, MoonPay or whoever it is that I might not have heard of, I'm like, I'll go with PayPal, and that way if I have an issue, but anyway, I go ahead and I connect to PayPal. It takes the money out, and I had it in 2 minutes, and it really is just as easy as going to Amazon and buying something now when you do that. I did have one question I wanted to, while Bond Guy's up here, Hen, and before we go, it would be nice to have some of the people in the community, Critison, BP Fergu, some other folks who, the big topic we always talk about Mr. Dillon and his cells. And I don't know why people act like he's Voldemort, the one that can't be named. He's just a human being. But I think, Ken, you and I had this discussion, and Bond Guy, to let you know where I'm coming from, is I think it's funny that what have we heard for years? People say we need more whale. We need more people in the community. We need more whales. We can't just have Jams and Jen and Alpha. And here we have this guy who he has probably spent as much as Alpha, if not more. He's probably spent $500,000 between HTH and Wonder Slabs. So I don't know how much Alpha has, maybe not, because Alpha's still above him, I'm sure, or Meta Jungle. But here is a whale. We have another whale in the space. And then what is the other complaint people always have about Jams and Jen and everyone else? Well, they build their sets and rainbows and they don't trade with me. They don't sell anything. Well, here's a guy who sells everything he gets. And then the other thing people complain is geez, Jams and Jen and Alpha have these big collections, but they drive a hard bargain. Here's a guy who gives it to you at a bargain. And so what's interesting is, the community is if you turn it around, it's a whale who came to the space. It's somebody who trades with you. It's somebody who gives you a discount. I understand the impact he's having on the ecosystem, but and it was interesting because people were talking about he's going to switch over to HTH and keep the price of BPX low. But the point I was making is we only have about 1,000 Wonder Slabs left to rip. When we are done with that, the reason right now I've been picking up for the Radish Cabal, for myself, for Radish, I've been picking up Wonders pre-slabs, and I'm paying about $25. That's why I'm buying BPX at this price. I don't want to spend the BPX I earned from a while ago. And for Moopdad and Ben, when we originally were awarded BPX, it was 2 to 3 cents. So for a lot of us, we remember when it was valued at 2 to 3 cents, and we did not spend it at that rate. So there's a psychological problem for Bond Guy, Hen, and I, where we were used to it being 2 cents. So we don't want to spend it at this level. So that's why I'm buying from the pool, because I'm okay spending BPX at this rate if I buy it at this rate, and it goes straight into the pre-slabs. But Bond Guy and Hen, I mean, my question to you is, when we run out of Wonders pre-slabs to rip, he might keep BPX depressed by going into HTH and doing what he's been doing. But when it comes to Wonder pre-slabs, you're not going to have a flood of supply on the market. And the other thing is, this is a physical product. HTH is digital. I mean, this is a physical card you can have in your hand. This is the first set of the Wonders of the First. This is before Dragon Boxes. This is before the Kickstarter. This is the first set of Wonders of the First. There's less than 10,000 of these cards. And in my mind is that if I can pick up any of these for $25, I will do that any day and all day. And I think once we've ripped them all and Mr. Dillon can't keep flipping them, I think the floor is going to rise on that, because there's not going to be a flood of supply.
I agree. I think, too, it's funny you say that, because I listed a card, which I generally never do. And I picked up some BPX, and I went in and I did buy some Wonder Slabs. I was looking for the tag 10. I couldn't find any. It's like there's I don't care what it is across the orbitals or whatever it is. I'm just going to buy, so I went in there and picked up a few, a few slabs or whatever. But I'm building that, looking at in the future that maybe I can give these to my grandson or something. It's like, I think they are going to be very valuable. And I think once the supply runs out, it's going to be a food fight.
Yeah. Let's I'm waiting for the tickler to reset. There you go. Not financial advice, educational purposes only. No, honestly, look at my point, my viewpoint, right? Look at the Dragon Boxes. Those are very hard to come by. There's not a lot selling right now, right? Once we'll call them the paper hands have sold those, now it's hard to get. The price of those have gone up from 200, I think some of them were selling for. Now they're up to like over $400, right? I hold a decent amount of them. I'm not selling it for $400, I'll tell you right now. And I think that the slabs are going to be the same way. And I think that once there's more utility, once the boba, Wonders of the First only, any of these products that can only be purchased with BPX, there's going to be a demand for it, right? Again, my viewpoint is I see the price going back up. That's why I'm hoarding it and waiting for those products to come out, so I know that I have enough. So yeah, I mean, is it annoying that he's dumping them at these prices? Yeah, but I mean, I put a post. If you own a geek, there's a geek chat, right? There's like a chat there for the geeks that hold those, and in there I posted that exactly what Slappy said. I'm like, this is a gift. I mean, you have a whale that's just dumping and giving these out for free. If people are annoyed by it, they don't like the price, buy more of it, right? I like to go and buy some cards off of the BP site, and exactly what Slappy said, I kind of have a mental block that BPX should be higher, so I'll go and buy more BPX at the current price and buy it for that price. There are deals to be had. Even right now, I was looking the other day, you can get some cards that are comped at I think I saw one the other day that the comp price is like $250, and if you convert the current BPX price, you can get it for like 150, right? So there are cards like that you can do. You just go look at, just gotta look for them, right? But yeah, I agree.
But that's the thing that I'm struggling with right now, is because I'm trying to figure out which way to go. I noticed the price on these cards going lower and lower and lower, and I put an offer out this morning, 9,000 miles for any of 5 cards, and I bought 5 cards in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I mean, people are just giving them away. So, but then I'm like, but wait, do I want to hang on to my BPX? Maybe I don't want to get rid of that. But with them giving the cards away so cheap, it's hard not to go in and buy them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's the beauty of the website, of the BlockPack site, right? It's funny because early on, I think when we were doing the games, the early rips, I ended up with a Freddie Freeman rookie gold parallel PSA 9. And I don't sell anything, but I had the card. It was shipped to me, and I've had it for a couple years. I'm like, okay, I just saw the card go for $1,900. I'm like, I'm going to put it up on eBay. So I put it up on eBay. I sold the card, all right? I looked at the fees, and I said, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
I said, I can't believe the amount of money that they took to sell this card. Obviously, there's authentication and things like that. But I looked at that and I said, you know what? The beauty of the BlockPack site is you don't get any of that. So what? You know what? He wants to list all his cards on there. I'm going to list them because there's absolutely no fees at all. And you know what? If you want to sell something, you can do that there too without paying the eBay high priced fees. And you've got players in there that are going to look at these specialty cards. I listed a Patrick Mahomes. Someone just lifted that off there. I'm like, there's opportunities out there, but the BPX and the BlockPack site is a perfect way to do it.
Yep. Yeah.
And one thing that's important to know about the BlockPacks community for Move Dad and Ben is that there are many card shops that are in there, and actually that's one of the things that helps. Like Ron with Palmetto is like he gets the best deals. He'll go in and he'll buy the 5-figure cards. I think that Jordan card, right? He was the one who ended up hitting that hand. You probably tracked it down, but he what was that card valued at, and what did he pay for it?
It was like
Probably what, $8,000?
No, it was like a $20,000 card.
Yeah, but what did he pay?
$20,000 card, but he paid like $8,000 for
Yeah,
it.
he
didn't
paid. Yeah, I mean at today's price, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I had the crowd slaps. I had some crowd slaps on that.
Yeah.
But so that's for what you Moop Dad and Ben. So what some people have done, and not just, I know, Hen, you've talked about it, but I know other people as well. There's some people in the community, when an auction is still going on, they literally sell the card before they even have won the auction in the BlockPacks marketplace. I know several people who've done that because it's such a wide gap. And I think what they just say is, I'm going to pay no matter what. I know it won't go above where it is. They just might end up not making a profit, but 9 times out of 10, they're going to make a profit. And so that's why they go ahead and pre-sell the card. That's just insane with that Jordan card. Moop Dad, hey, one question I want to get, I know you hopped off, but Bond Guy so Bond Guy and Hen, I got to tell you with Moop Dad is that, so Moop Dad, you might have had the world record time in picking up a geek. So which silo do you come from, Moop Dad? Tell everybody.
I come from the. What do you mean silo?
Oh, sorry.
The world of the first.
Yeah, at BlockPacks we consider that's Frenchy terminology. Yeah, Wonders of the First would be a silo. Bow Battle Arena would be a silo. So you came from Wonders of the First.
Correct.
And how long were you? How did you find that? And when did you get into Wonders of the First?
You know what? I don't even know. I was thinking about that the other day.
Like everyone here.
I remembered seeing it and it looked interesting. I was a long-time Magic the Gathering player. I played it in 94, 95. And then for a long time. So I don't know. I saw it. It looked interesting, and man, I just kind of fell into it. And then once those slabs released and I opened a few, then I really regretted not buying just a crap ton at that $75 mark.
He sounds like a geek owner already, Bond Guy, doesn't he?
That's right, no doubt about it. That's pretty funny.
Well, and so Moop Dad. So you and I started. I think it's all started because I posted yesterday. I posted in the Wonders Discord, and I bought a Wonders pre-slab unripped, and which is great. BlockPacks used to make it so you had to buy it ripped and rip it right then when you buy it. So it's great that you can buy it, keep it unripped. So I bought one unripped and I posted it in Wonders, and I said, listen, if anybody wants to show up at the community battle breaks, we're going to give away a Wonders slab to rip live, and it's going to somebody in the audience. And Moop Dad, you were like, what's this about? So I was like, yeah, let me show you a little bit. So at that point, you were not part of the BlockPacks Discord, and you knew not. So yesterday, I'm looking at this. No, that's today. So today at 8:55 a.m. is when you sent me the first DM. At that point, you were at 8:55 this morning East Coast time. You were not a member of the BlockPacks Discord, correct?
That is correct.
And you didn't have a geek at that point, right?
Oh no, absolutely not.
And you didn't even know what a geek was, other than a teen movie, right?
Exactly.
8:55 a.m. and you had one by what, 4:30 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah. I saw some information on it. You hooked me up with those different Discord with the Radish and then the block packs, and I was all in, man. I am really loving what I'm seeing with the community, and I didn't even get the All-Star. I went straight to the hero.
That's
nice.
awesome.
And I'll say, anyone that doesn't have a geek, right? There are a lot of benefits. I think Slappy put a post out there about it. A lot of great benefits for having it. And if you're in the Wonders silo, any of those, if you're redeeming any of them and shipping, I think it's free for geek holders, so that's great. If you're
wait, hold on, Moop Dad, did you know that if you redeem and you have your slab sent to you, now that you're a geek owner, you will not pay shipping?
That's awesome. And I actually just went out and ordered 2 hobby boxes of boba too, to check it out.
Boba's great. I got that's all this behind me right now.
Hey, Slappy, just for the record, the Kanji 1 of 1 Showtime, I just sent a tag. I sent 36 cards to tag.
Wow.
So we'll see how that comes back. I'm hoping it's a 10, but you never know. But those cards are great cards to have. I mean, they're just really cool looking, and I don't, it's like I said, I can never get rid of my geek either. I've had that thing forever. I didn't even know what it was initially when we were doing all the Raz stuff and the ripping. I'm like, all right, what's this geek? What is the shark? What's all this other stuff? And then, you start to get involved, and then things start to come, things start to be put in perspective, and you realize the value of owning a geek, when you're doing stuff on the HTH and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool.
And for folks who want to know what Bond Guy's talking about,
It's crazy.
he hit this Showtime 1 of 1.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Congrats,
that's a beauty.
Man. Congrats.
That's a beauty right there. I've had a few people reach out asking me if I want to sell it. I don't know if I could ever. I sold 2 cards, and I told you guys about them. Those are the only 2 cards I've sold in 10 years. So.
Well, I will say, so Hen, I didn't want to cut you off, but when it comes to I think for the geeks, and we covered it a little bit on, Around the Block, our show that dropped on Tuesday, but there are things called Home Team Heroes, the digital version of Bo Battle Arena that actually came first. It's actually the IP that Bo Battle Arena is based on. And we build sets and build rainbows, and we earn points, which turn into BPX. And by holding a geek, Move Dad, if you get into that side, and if you tune in Sunday to the community battle breaks, you'll kind of see the digital side of things. And if you hold a geek, you get a 25% multiplier. Now there's limitations, like a legend can power more than an all-star, but there's a lot of things. And you mentioned you came from Wonders of the First, Ben and Moop Dad. And so the way we picked up we own our art proofs in Wonders of the First is we had things like, we had other assets that we paired up with a geek. And so we needed a geek to match up with our assets in order to get it. So the geeks helped us get Wonder art proofs for free. It got us the dragon boxes, the opportunity to buy it for free. We had to pay like about $225 in BPX at the time, but the opportunity was because of our geek. So Bo Battle Arena, before it came out to the public and nobody knew, and it's was it who was it? Was it Moop Dad? You were saying I wish I had bought more at the $85 rate. Yeah. So Bo Battle Arena, Frenchie came to us and the geeks and said, I will give you special geek pricing. We basically were paying what the distributors were paying, and we could buy I don't even think there was a limit, Hen. We could buy whatever we wanted. Yeah. And the rule on Jeff and Frenchie and every project he has you don't pass on anything. And Hen and I were talking about this because I think we're similar. And Bond Guy, I think you'd fall into this camp too, which is you like to look at things. It's not an investment, but it's hard not to think that way somewhat. But I finally told Hen, I was like, I'm not going to think rationally about anything in BlockPacks anymore. And I'm just going to keep going with it until I see one thing fail. And it's been 3 years. And literally when something doesn't work out, Jeff does not leave you high and dry. Instead, like you're seeing that there's something called the Bantams with Pirates and Parrots, and it's not going anywhere. But what Jeff's going to do is he's creating essentially a Pokemon type game that's going to fit into his universe. And he's going to take that old dead project and he's going to transfer our ownership rights into that. So what's great about Frenchie is that he literally, man, he just doesn't lay any rotten eggs. Is that so? It's smarter just to go with every opportunity that presents itself. And the day that you get burned on an opportunity, all the successes, all the wins will far have taken care of that one failure. But with BlockPacks, not financial advice, but keep going with it until you see a failure. I mean, would you agree, Bond Guy?
I agree. I think that, I've been, the fear of missing out kind of thing. I've been in everything, as much as I'd like to buy more, I do set limits, but, it's kind of cool being able to, rip these things and the excitement of, getting a color pop, and what that turns into, at the end. And then, when you create these rainbows and things like that, you get these special dividends of BPX that come to you on a daily basis as it builds. It's very, very similar to owning an equity and getting a dividend from the equity. Although this is an investment advice or an investment vehicle, the way that they've set it up and they created this is, these are dividends from you building these sets that go into the BPX dollars or the BPX, what do they call it? I don't want to say dollars because it's not dollars, but it's BPX, right? So,
Yeah.
You can use this, like, if it's funny because, as it builds up, if you're looking to, buy a slab or do something and, you got 20,000 in BPX that you could convert, you could just use that and go lift a slab off of, the Wonders or whatever it is. So it's kind of cool. It really is a unique system that they're building, and we're all part of it. And seeing Bo take off like it has is just incredible. It's a good feeling to see it.
And I do want to mention for all the people who are familiar with Bo Battle Arena, Cruise Control is one of the heroes in that collection. And I would have loved to see Magma. For folks who don't know, is that you see the steel, the fire, and the ice in the Bo Battle Arena collection, but actually in the digital form, which came first, there's 6 weapons. There's Origin, there's fire, there's ice, there's titanium, there's magma, and there's bio. It's not glow, it's called biohazard. And what you're seeing on the screen is the cruise control magma. And so for this past baseball season, the cruise control NASCAR had on the Radish digital on the hood, and that's in recognition of Radish being the official media partner of BlockPacks. So grateful to BlockPacks for that relationship, and also for putting that was a special Easter egg they put in there, and not something they told us about until it dropped, which was kind of cool.
I didn't know that. That is cool.
Yeah, me neither. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
One other thing I'll add too is another product that you get for being a geek is they have something called the Pick 6, which they give lines for players.
Yeah.
It's important, Slappy. It's important.
No, I'm glad you're talking about it. I can't believe we forgot to mention it. I was just the amount of money they throw at you.
I think that this is one of the most underestimated benefits of a geek, right? So the Pick 6 is every week you go in and you pick your lineup, you pick players, and they're like they'll have their players, their inspired players here, and based on how many points they'll say, all right, well, Bammer has to score 1,000 points, right? And they have, it's kind of like it's fantasy, right? So if they go over that, you win, and if you get all, I think it's 6, if you get all 6 right, you can win a certain amount of BPX based on how high you're ranked, right? And your ranking is by how much you have bought. Here, Slappy's going to show you right now. But the best part is you even win if you don't win, right? Because just by doing it each week, they give you a bonus. So at the end of the season, they're going to give you a 30% boost on your BPX that you're holding. And this is like a geek. I think it's only a geek only product right now, and this is great. And I mean, that honestly, that's part of the reason why I was building up a huge BPX pool, is because if I do this every week, I'm going to get 30% more. So even if the price comes down if I'm dollar cost averaging and keep buying some BPX throughout the price, I kind of know where I am, and then I get a 30% boost at the end of the year, right? So that's another great benefit of being a geek, and just another cool product that they have in here. And if you do hit it, like you can see down there, if Slappy hits it, he can win 100,000 miles, BPX, sparks, whatever you want to call it. He can win that. And I don't think I actually told, well, I did tell you, Slappy. I actually, for the first time, I mean, I've done this since the beginning. I don't know how many weeks it's been, but I finally hit one, and I got 200,000 BPX for it.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
So,
and just so people know, it's paid out as a drip. It's out over a year, and you get 1/365th of it every day that you can claim.
Yeah. So, but that's, I mean, it's another great benefit. So I just got
and
200,000 BPX.
I think, Ken, you pointed out right there, it said you've earned a weekly bonus of 10,675 miles for playing this week. They changed that. They didn't used to do it, and I've got to tell you, that's brilliant, because that's very lizard brain. When you see, I'll admit, I wasn't doing it every week. I wasn't as religious as you, just too busy. But now that I see this, it's hard not to come back and make sure that I sign up every week when I can see just how much it is.
Yep.
So that's the other issue. Yeah. So the geek benefits just keep going on and on and on. And they keep, and the other thing I'll say, what was it that they dropped in our wallet? Parrots. They dropped in. So this new game Cosmic, that's going to be like Pokemon, is at one point, everybody who had a geek, Frenchie just went in and dropped a parrot in every one of our wallets, which are, last time I checked, they were selling what, for 200 guys? I think $200.
I don't know.
So
I haven't even looked.
Yeah, we don't sell ours. We already went over this.
Yeah. but the point is with the geeks is that it's what you don't, there's a ton of value in it. And there's also in the digital home team heroes, if you have a geek, you can buy early, you get discount pricing, and it's based on your geek, hero, all-star, or legend. All right. Well, it's Ben, you've been quiet for a while. Sorry for letting us go on. Me in particular, did you have any questions?
No, that's it. I tried the hometown hero stuff. It wasn't really my thing, and I saw another. I don't know if you guys were in on it. There was another stream I went to just kind of explaining it, but I'm just not I like playing sports. I don't like watching sports. I'm not like big of the sports scene. But the Wonders thing, man. I've played Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and several other collectible card games, and my mind is just absolutely blown, and I just cannot see how this game is not going to go straight to the moon. I mean, it's just going to go crazy. Just compared to what's out there, it just blows it all away.
All right. Well, I hope you show up on, if you're watching the football game or you're free on Sunday at 3, we're going to do the community battle breaks. It will be the silo you don't like, HTH, but we're giving away Wonders and some other things in there. And that includes the community. So it also might be more exciting because we have actually 4 rounds of 4 people going against each other, and then we have a championship round. And actually, the winner of that the winner of the 16 entrants wins a hobby box of Bow Battle Arena.
Ooh.
So
cool. And that's just, you said you just jump on the stream at 3:00 on Sunday.
Yep. Yeah. You can just head to radishdigital.com and you'll see it right there. Yeah.
And that's 3 p.m. Eastern time.
3 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. Basically, when the Commanders kick off, is that
he doesn't watch sports. He went over this.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, he plays it. Will you be playing on Sunday?
Unfortunately, no.
All right. Well, Ben, thanks for all the great questions. Like, it definitely helps it better when we have people, and you and Moop Dad were awesome. Like, it just makes this stream so much better. Moop Dad, any final thoughts or questions? That is, I'm probably going to get Gen Con to contact you about interviewing you for Around the Block. Like, seriously, I'm not just joking. You set a record. This is incredible. Like, opening up the DMs with you right now and seeing it 8:55 in the morning. I hadn't invited you to the Block Packs Discord, and I see you in Geek Channel later that day. Not even at night, in the afternoon. It was insane.
Hey, what?
No, I don't have any more questions. I just appreciate you guys doing this and what I'm seeing from the community in general. So I'm just excited about it.
That's
I
great.
did have one more quick question.
Yeah, of course you did. And by the way, Moop Dad and Ben, post your in the private chat, post your BlockPacks marketplace name. I'm gonna give you guys each 1,000 BPX, and I'm gonna give Bond Guy and you two each 1,000 BPX. Sorry, go ahead, Ben.
Oh, cool.
Me too.
I was just gonna say, so with the Geek card, that gives you access to the Geek Lounge. Is that what that? Okay.
Yeah, it's like so if it's one of the, it's like a private chat for, it's like one of the, it's another, how do I describe it? Like when you're in the Black Packs, it's like there's like a members only section, and it's kind of like the general, but it's only for people that have a geek.
Okay. Because Infinite spent a lot of time with me trying to figure out how to validate that, because I had it like in OpenSea and then it was in MetaMask, and so he was showing me how to link the wallets and verify it, and it was a whole thing, but I finally got it verified. But he spent a ton of time trying to get me to work that out.
Oh, great.
Where do you want me to? Where do I in the chat here? Just post my my BlockPacks username.
Yeah, did you see it pop up where Moop Dad put it?
Let's see here.
And the other thing too is if you guys are going to the National Card Show convention, having a geek allows you to go. They have a geek dinner every year, right? Or like a geek party, and all the geeks get together. We have some drinks, some food, get to see each other. It's a lot of fun too. So that's another. To be honest, that's probably my favorite perk is just getting to meet the people in the community and going and having some drinks with them too. So that's always fun.
And where are those at?
Oh my.
The this one, it's every year it's different. This year it's in Chicago.
Rosemont. Yeah, at the Rosemont. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
At the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center.
Yep.
I was at the last one here.
I'm sorry. Where's it at? This kind of
Chicago, the airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the Geek Dinner, what I always told everybody, All Stars pretty much. So here's the hard part with geeks too, and I was talking to somebody new today, is that at one point, in Minute Hen, what's the highest price you paid for a legend?
Yeah, it was like $4,000, but there were other things in it. I was looking the other day, so there was a couple other things in it. But
all right, so anyway, but now they're selling. What are they at, about
$1,500? Yeah.
So, but a couple months ago, there were legends selling for $600 to $800 that people were letting them go for,
crazy.
and All Stars were down around 175. So it was interesting when I was talking to somebody new about, not you Moved Dad. I didn't realize you were going to go that vlog, somebody else. But I was saying to them, I saw there were 2 All Stars for 300. I actually have a hard time saying at 400 you should buy an All Star. I think that's a little bit high. But conversely, with Jeff and the BlockPacks universe, it's not inconceivable at some point some triggering event will happen, and $400 for any geek will be considered, oh my gosh, I can't believe we got it.
Yep.
So I look at it this way, and I always tell people, if you have the financial means, because I don't want to pretend I know your situation, if you have the financial means and you have money to play with, I always say just go for the legend, because that is where many members of the community end up. People start out with an all-star. People who are they don't have disposable income to play, they'll start with that. They'll win different things, like Bond Guy talking about the cards he wins. They'll take things like that. They'll trade it with their all-star for a hero. Then they'll move it up to a legend. But everybody's working towards a legend because it conveys the most power. So sometimes the benefit is equal between an all-star, a hero, and a legend. But a legend is never below the other two. And sometimes the benefit is greater. And so that's why you would want a legend to get the maximum amount of power that you have.
Can you own more than one?
Yes. Yeah.
You can. Yes, I know that from experience.
Yeah. And in fact, you want to know something? Is like I said, we're going to go at the hour mark, but at this point, let's just try to hit the 2-hour mark. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share the screen, and we'll show the ownership. So you want to go into OpenSea to take a look at to look at the ownership. They actually do a great job of showing analytics on it. And so let's see, if we go here to I went to BlockPacks, I went to official links, and I went to Card Geeks. You can see them for sale, and those 2 are still there. So there's still 2 All Stars for 300. And one of the things that I will say that, I'm gonna share that one, is that actually, here, let me go back to that so you can just see it. So those two all-stars are still sitting at 300. And my whole thing is, I'm used to them costing $175. At this point, 125 on top of it, I wouldn't feel as bad about quote unquote overpaying for that. But so you look up here and there's items, offers, analytics, and activity. So if you go to analytics, and this is going to show you, and what's interesting, when I was showing one of the new people today this, you look at sales. If we go over to activities, actually, let me show you this before we show you how many geeks that Hen has. So when you go to activity, in the last 28 days, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There have been 7.
That's great.
7. What's that?
That's great.
3, 4, 5, 6. There have been 7 sales, but this is what you guys have to understand, MoveDad and Bet, about our community. So look at transfers, because everybody does it over the counter with a trust transaction. So if I want to look at the last, and I added it earlier, and so I'm just going to go by memory. Look at it goes down below the page to get to 28. It's 20. So there were 20 transfers of geeks in the last 28 days. Only 7 of them were a sale. The other 13, the majority by far, 2 to 1, was actually people making over-the-counter deals, just PayPaling each other and doing it that way. All right, and so if we go into analytics, is that you'll see this gives you different analytics, but where we're heading for the top owners, top 100. So if we go over here, if my fiber connection is all right, so you can see that swap.blockpacks. So there's a blockpacks wallet that's number 1. And then below that's Alpha, who has 45. GenCon, who you see in the Discord, she has 37. And then this wallet, who I don't know, that could be one of Alpha's friends. I'm not sure. That one has 31. And then BBV, that's actually a group by Petrarca, and it's a group of a lot of people, but it's led by Petrarca and Smash and Grab. And then Xerix at 22. JPG Maxi is actually Hermie Madoff. And then Nifty Meta Girl is one of Alpha's friends. Aaron is actually the person who owns Palmetto Sports Cards in South Carolina. CP Hurley, and look at, there's according to Hen at 12, in 12th place, and he's got 14. So he owns 1% of the collection.
I haven't looked at this in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a little misleading too, because you can have geeks, you can have the different tiers, right? So that's just all of them.
Right. You could have a lot of the all-stars. Yep. Okay.
Cool.
So anyway. All right. Any Bond guy, any final words from you?
No, thank you very much. I had a good time listening, learning more about the crypto aspect of it, and I appreciate that.
Come up on stage more, Bond guy. I love having you up here. You're not going to be allowed in the audience anymore.
Yeah, I generally tend to just, type my responses in, and sometimes I'm not even in the right chat. I'm in a different one. So I'm wondering, why is no one responding? Oh, well, thank you, guys.
It's great. I can't wait to. I'm going to go look up that Freddie Freeman from the old auctions and see, check it out.
Yeah, go check it out. I just sold it on eBay, so that PSA 9 gold parallel. Yeah, it's pretty
awesome.
cool.
Congrats, man. That's sick.
When you're saying check that out, I got to show MoveDad. Actually, since MoveDad picked up one thing, I got to show him and Ben one additional thing, and I think it's still my favorite collection from Blockpacks. And this is the next thing that you have to get. There's actually a gated channel for lost miners, and you can't see this collection. Just like you can't see the what's going to be the Pokemon, the Cosmics, unless you have a Parrot or a Pirate. But so this is the Lost Miners. And it was interesting, and I was talking to somebody today who was a huge fan of Wonders of the First. And let me ask, because Ben, you're so excited about Wonders of the First, you think it's going to the moon. And let me be clear about something. The people who hated on Blockpacks and were saying, oh, it's a an NFT crypto bro scam. This game is going to succeed or fail based on the game. It absolutely, the game has nothing to do with the blockchain. But Ben, do you know where the first comes in Wonders of the First?
What do you mean?
The name is called Wonders of the First. Do you know why first is in the name?
Oh, no.
Yeah, so in when you explain this, the person I was explaining today, he's like, oh, so I don't know how much MoveDad and Ben, you guys understand the chain. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert, But when you go to BlockPax, you can actually look. There's a white paper where they'll talk about it. So Ethereum used to be proof of work. That's where people would mine their computers for crypto. And that's where everybody was complaining. And correct me, Bond Guy and Hen, if I go askew here, but that's where people were using their machines, tons of electricity. You're eating up the rainforest. It's not sustainable. So what the foundation that oversees Ethereum blockchain, they decided they were going to move from proof of work to proof of stake, so they wouldn't be using all that computing power and all that electricity. And so what they did is they tested it, created a second chain that would be based on proof of stake. And so to make it live, they had to have what's called the ETH merge. And I don't know if you've heard of the ETH merge, but that's where they took their chain that they created, which was not going to use up a ton of electricity. And while transactions were happening around the globe, they actually switched it real time while the transactions were happening. Now, everybody in the world actually wanted to know when this was going to happen, because people wanted to, this was still when the NFT craze was going on, people wanted to be the last contract. And so what happened is Frenchie, he's what I love about him, he's a business person who's a dreamer. You never get those two sides so perfectly balanced like you do in Frenchie. And Jeff and the team said, you know what, we're going to model it and figure out when the ETH merge is going to happen. It wasn't published. It was just going to happen with certain things triggered. So they created a model to figure out when the ETH merge would happen, when they would switch from one blockchain to the other on ETH. And they not only calculated it correctly, but they had what they called the rocket launcher, and it launched a contract on the blockchain that not only put their contract on there as the last contract, but it also minted 10,000 NFTs, and they pushed everybody off the contract, because what happens on blockchain is that multiple contracts will go on the same block that goes on the chain. They fashioned it in a way that they pushed everybody out. They got their contract in, they minted 10,000 NFTs, and they economized it so it didn't cost millions in gas, which it could have, based on other deeds and other projects that have sent gas prices soaring. But they weren't done. So that collection, that last collection, was called the Lost Miners, because what did people do on their computers for crypto? They were mining their computers. So this collection is the last NFT collection ever from the heyday of the go-go 20s. And so what did they do? They relaunched their rocket launcher when it switched over to ETH proof of stake, the blockchain that Ethereum now sits on. And they launched it, and they did the exact same thing. They got the block, they pushed everybody out, they did their contract, they minted their 10,000 NFTs. And that was the first contract on the new Ethereum chain. And Ben, do you know where First and Wonders of the First comes from?
From that first contract?
From that first they are the first contract on Ethereum proof of stake. And that is why it's Wonders of the First.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to go. But so for me personally, like, I love the Wonders, and there's no game. And by the way, Frenchie will tell you is that the whole thing about the miners, they just exist. They never promised anything with it. They don't, which is the biggest lie, because actually to get the Wonder proofs, we actually could use these miners to pair with geeks. And for every pair, we got a Wonder. At one point, they gave us BPX for it. Like, I laugh, Hen. It's like, that's the biggest non-truth ever. Is like, we've gotten so much benefit out of these lost miners. But when you look at these, I mean, just some of these, you've seen them in the Wonders Discord. Infinite, he sports a geek now, that's right. But actually, one of the best deals I think that's out here, there's 10,000. This female with a canary. Canaries are rare. This one is sitting at like $600, Hen and Bond Guy, and it's ranked 829th. And then let's see, there was one other one that was really good. I think somebody picked it up already. Yeah, there was another low number one. Oh my God, look at this one. This one's $297. This one's a white canary, guys. Oh my God, this one's $643. Oh, that's early.
This is where we lose Slappy.
Okay, all right, that's all right. All right, I'm gonna let thanks Bond Guy Bond Guy had to go, and so Hen, I'm gonna let you sign us off, and just make sure in the call sign you say this is BPX After Dark.
No, I'm not. You do it so well, Slappy. Yeah. I'll give you my last word. I just overall, I'm happy we got to answer a lot of questions. This podcast went a little differently than I thought, but I was really happy. I think we covered a lot of cool aspects. I'm happy that there are a lot of people in different silos that are kind of looking at the other ones and want to know more. Again, one last just thing on the BPX, right, and the miles and the sparks, is that what we were showing you on the liquidity pool, it's a great, just another way to get involved into the pool. It's a great way to support that and stabilize the coin to some degree. But if it's too complicated for you, whatever, over the counter is always available. If you're looking for miles, just post in the general chat, and you can always buy from the website too. Just check it, because sometimes it's not that different of a price, and that's always nice and easy. So that's always an option as well.
Hey guys, I really appreciate it. Thanks for the info.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ben. And let's see, Moop Dad, I got that sent over to you, and Ben, I'm gonna hit your 1,000 BPX next. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right.
Guys.
Well, let's see. That's gonna do it here for us at BPX After Dark. And I want to go ahead, and this is Discord user Slappy White with Radish Digital. That's digital with a J. Make sure you stop by radishdigital.com. You can also catch in Spotify. You'll see, if you look up Radish Digital, we have a couple years of tons of content. You love Wonders? Go back and see hours of content with Kisher when he was forming Wonders of the First, with Frenchie when they were talking about it. We have a lot of stuff in our archives. We have tens of thousands of views. We have thousands of hours and hundreds of shows. So look forward to seeing everybody at those future shows. I'm a big thanks to According to Hen for being our subject matter expert tonight and just explaining the intricacies of BPX and the liquidity pool. And my apologies again to BJamps, who agreed to come back and host again, but I dropped the ball. I'm so sorry, BJamps. Thanks everybody for joining us. Take care and have a great night.